Welcome back to yet another episode of Before You Summon. The 4th anniversary celebrations has come to an end and we enter our first limited event of the 4th year of Project Sekai, Happy Enjoy Music, that will run from October 31st to November 8th. This is a Leonid unit focused event in the Happy attribute with SAKI as the focus character and the rest of Leonid and their virtual singers acting as supporting cast. And due to this being a standard limited event, we will have 2 exchange shop cards. Taking the 2-star slot is Shiho with her card while waiting for our turn to perform, and Shiho is a cool attribute scorer skilled card, with the cool attribute granting her future usability in one upcoming event. Shiho will see use in the event Find a Dream View, also known as the 4.5 anniversary, running from March 30th to April 6th. In the gacha is ICHIKA, Shiho and Leonid Miku, meaning of course that the Shiho exchange shop card from Happy Enjoy Music is lower gameplay value for this event, as Shiho is available with a 70% event bonus from the gacha. And that is the only future usability Shiho has, with Luca taking the 3-star slot with her card Their Music Video. Luca is a mysterious attribute healer skilled card with the skill name Job Well Done Party in the Sekai. And due to her mysterious attribute, Luca has no future usability as it currently stands on the Japanese server. But these are of course not the only cards being added with the event, as we also have the event gacha, Musical Street Corner, that will run from October 31st to November 10th. This is a limited gacha, meaning it abides by standard limited gacha rules. So there is a 3% chance for a 4-star and no pity bar, and using the pink stickers and vouchers. There will be 3 new cards added with this gacha, all of them being limited, meaning they come with a costume as well as a new hairstyle for the character. And these cards are considered the focus cards of the event, meaning they grant a 70% event bonus for event team building. And since there's only unit members in the gacha, we can cover the whirling situation here, instead of saying the information for every single separate card, becoming repetitive very quickly. Leonid's new set of whirling cards will come with their second whirling event, Ordinary Yet Special Us, that will run from the 23rd of June to the 5th of July. Starting alongside their second whirling event is also Leonid's second whirling support gacha that will be happening in late June. As always, the second whirling support gacha for any given unit will include their first set of whirling cards as rate up options within the gacha. This means that the second whirling support gacha is a form of rerun of the unit's first set of whirling cards, which of course reigns true for Leonid as well. Then in September, before the final whirling chapter goes live, we have a rerun of each unit's second whirling gacha. Leonid's gacha, Another Sparkle Stars, will be available between September 22nd and September 23rd. And this gacha works exactly like it did the first time around, being a standard limited gacha for whirling events. And lastly, the final chapter whirling event, Wishes Bloom, does not have a standard event gacha. Instead, it has the final chapter support gacha that will be available between September 25th and September 30th. Available in this gacha are all of the first set of whirling cards available at the same time as rate up options, as well as being available to be sparked from the exchange shop in the gacha. This means that this is a sort of second rerun of the first set of whirling cards for all units available. However, just to be on the safe side, until we get more information, I would consider this your final opportunity to pull from the first set of whirling cards as standalone gachas, as we've gotten no information how the first set of whirling cards will be handled going forward. So until we get more information how the first set of whirling cards reruns will be handled in the future, I would consider this your final opportunity to pull on these cards as a standalone gacha and therefore plan your crystals accordingly. So I would keep this in mind while planning your crystals if you're interested in the first set of whirling cards for any given unit. Finally, wrapping back around to the event gacha, all of the cards added with the musical Street Corner gacha will be of the event attribute, being happy this time around. And due to their happy attribute, all 3 cards being added will see use during the same event, so let's cover this here instead of spreading it across all 3 cards. The 3 cards will see use during the event Heartbeat That Connects Us Together, that will run from the 11th of October to the 19th of October next year. This is obviously a Leonid unit-focused event in the happy attribute with Honami, Ichika, and Shiho in the gacha. Meaning out of the cards added with the musical Street Corner gacha, Saki is the only one with higher gameplay value, as she's the only one not available with a 70% event bonus from the Heartbeat That Connects Us Together gacha. But with that, let's get into the cards added with the gacha, starting with the focus character of the event, Saki, and their card, Fun Happy Music.
こういうの好きだな。
Saki is a scorer skill card with the skill name Don't Forget to Pack, and scorer skill cards will grant 100% score bonus for 5 seconds at talent level 1. With Saki's new costume being called Follow One's Heart Matching Style. And as for alternative limited cards for Saki, she has 2 new upcoming ones. The first event where Saki will get a new limited card is Connect Heart Message, that will run from February 28th to April 6th. And the second event where she will get a new limited card is the 5th anniversary event, or Golden Days, that will run from September 30th to October 9th. And sadly, for old returning cards, Saki only has a single upcoming rerun. As always, remember that the second rerun is the final rerun before the standalone gacha is discontinued and the cards join the Recollection Festival gacha pool. So plan your crystals accordingly, and if you want more information about the Recollection Festival and the discontinuation of limited gacha, check out my general guide linked down in the description. With the only gacha Saki showing up in being the final rerun of the Welcome to Diner gacha happening in April. So Saki definitely doesn't have a lot of upcoming options, which leads us straight into our second character in the gacha, Ichika, and her card, A Different Me.
クールに、クールに。
Ichika is a Perfect Locker skill card with the skill name Fizz Yum High School, and Perfect Locker skill cards will change all bad and higher tabs into perfect for 5.5 seconds and grant an 80% score bonus for 5 seconds at talent level 1. With Ichika's new costume being called Playing Sounds One Piece Style. And Ichika only has a single alternative if you're looking for another new limited card for her. We have already mentioned the event she will show up in, being the 4.5 anniversary event Find the Dream View, that will run from March 30th to April 6th. And in addition, Ichika only has 2 upcoming reruns. The first gacha we will encounter her in is the first rerun of the What Awaits After Battle gacha happening in March, with the final rerun confirmed for October next year. This is then followed by the final rerun of the Grow Up With Me gacha, also known as the 3rd anniversary, happening in May. Which only leaves us with our final character in the gacha, obviously being Honami, and her card on the music video set.
恥ずかしい。
Honami is a healer skill card with the skill name Say It With a Smile, and healer skill cards will cover 350 life and grant an 80% score bonus for 5 seconds at talent level 1. With Honami's new costume being called Once Feeling Overall Style. And as for new alternative limited cards, Honami only has a single option, just like Ichika. And funnily enough, she will actually be joining Ichika in the exactly same event, the 4.5 anniversary event Find the Dream View, as a Bloom Festival exclusive card. And this means that Honami will only be available between March 30th and April 4th. With Honami so far having the best set of upcoming reruns. She has 3 upcoming reruns, with the first gacha we will encounter her in being the final rerun of the Under the Eternal Bells gacha happening in February. This is then followed by the first rerun of the Play with Dogs gacha happening in April, with no final rerun yet confirmed. With the final gacha we will encounter her in being the ghoulish ghastly Get Together gacha having its first rerun in September, with no second rerun of course yet confirmed. So if you don't like the cards from Happy Enjoy Music, your selection of new and old limited cards for ICHIKA, HONAMI and SAKI is actually very slim. But that covers all of the cards added with the musical Street Corner gacha, meaning we can look towards the event team building. And as always, since this is a unit-focused event, it means that all virtual singers, as long as they have the correct unit tag and attribute, will be able to grant the 50% event bonus for being the correct character. In addition, due to the changes made to the blank virtual singers with the Bloom Festival update in June of this year, any virtual singer with the Leonid or blank unit tag will be able to grant the 50% bonus as long as they are of the correct attribute being happy for this event. So instead we can get into the asterisks for the 2-star and 3-star card, and this time around we have 7 asterisks that need to be pointed out. And let's start with the most obvious standard affairs. The 2-star Miku card, the Slothful Sleepless Widow, the 2-star Honami featuring Maroon Cream and the 2-star Rin featuring Little Twin Stars, as well as the Let's Enjoy the Movie 2-star Shiho and Len are all from special events. The Slothful Sleepless Widow of course was available during the 2 different runs of the 7 Deadly Sins gacha, with the Maroon Cream and Little Twin Stars obviously coming from the Sanrio collaboration event. If you did not play during the 7 Deadly Sins collab or the Sanrio collab, or you specifically did not pick up the Rin and the Honami from the Sanrio collab, you have no way of having these 3 2-star cards. And the 2 Let's Enjoy the Movie 2-stars of course comes from the movie code campaign that was tied to going to the cinema for the Project Sekai movie. So if you live in a country where the movie wasn't available, or you just didn't go see it in the cinema, you have no way of having these 2-star cards either. In addition, the 2-star SAKI comes from the event Play That Beautiful Sound that has not yet entered the standard gacha pool, meaning that if you did not play during this event, you have no way of having this 2-star SAKI. And finally, as a semi-asterisk, the 3-star Shiho coming from the event Lead with Courage and Kindness only entered the standard gacha pool last month, meaning if you have not pulled during last month's gacha and you did not play during the Lead with Courage and Kindness event, you have no way of having this 3-star Shiho. Which means we can look towards the 4-star selection, and this time around we have 24 available 4-star cards. This time around we have 6 events that brought more than 1 card, one of which is limited and the rest are permanent. The limited event in question is the 2.5 anniversary event in this singing city, bringing both a Shiho and a Leonid Miku, with the 5 permanent cards in order of release being Don't Let Doubts Hold You Back, bringing in a Honami, a Leonid Meiko and an Ichika. Unnamed Harmony, which brought a Saki, a Leonid Rin and a Shio, which was followed by Echo My Melody, bringing an Ichika, a Honami, and another Leonid Miku. Then we saw the event Our Precious Memories just before 3rd anniversary, bringing a Saki and a Shiho. And finally, rather recently, we had Parallel Harmonies, bringing a Saki, a Shiho, and another Leonid Meiko. Which leaves 8 remaining cards, all of which being some form of limited. 5 of them being standard limited cards and 3 of them being semi-limited. In order of release, the limited cards include the Servant of Evil Len from the 7 Deadly Sins collab, which was followed by the Saki from Secret Operation Valentine's Day event. We then got a Leonid Luca through the 1.5 anniversary event connected through Sekai's Cherry Blossoms, which was then followed by Honami's Colorful Festival exclusive card tied to the event Let's Enjoy Together Spoy Joy Park, with the final standard limited card coming from the event Relaxing Tea Time in the form of an Ichika. With the semi-limited cards of course coming from the Whirlink events. From the Leonid event Our Starry Sky Leading to the Future we have the Honami. And from the virtual singer event with you at Sekai's beginning, we have both the Rin and the Len. And that is our final selection of 4-star cards, but we of course also have a few birthday cards as an extra bonus. And this time around we have 6 available birthday cards, including the first year Shiho, Luca and Miku, the second year Len and Saki, and the third year Ichika. And this roster of cards looks pretty impressive if you just look at it from a first glance. However, I have to dock a lot of points from this roster just on the fact that there isn't a 3-star card available for all characters. And I have to wonder, how are we entering the 4th year of Project Sekai and we still don't have 3-star cards that are readily available for all of the unit members at least. Shiho being without a 3-star card that is available in the standard gacha pool is actually wild. This time around, 10 out of the 24 available cards are limited, which is at least a little better than certain events we've had where a majority of the cards have been considered limited. However, out of these 14 cards, 12 of them are from unit-focused events. Meaning, if you aren't a long-time Leonid fan, you have to have gotten these cards through off-banner pulls. Which, to be honest, is quite unlikely on EN, as Leonid and sometimes More Jump seem to be the least favored units in the game. In addition, with the fact that Leonid already have 4 unit-focused events in the Happy attribute, Happy and Joy Music being a 5th one wasn't really needed. And already having that many unit-focused events in the Happy attribute is a pretty big hit against the value of Happy and Joy Music as an event and card selection. So this event team building is probably pretty easy if you're a big Leonid fan, but could be a bit more difficult if you're not a very big fan of Leonid to begin with. I just hope that everyone can hit the 250% event bonus and late game players can at least hit a 270 to 280 if they aren't big Leonid fans. But with all of that being said, once the event concludes, we will see an Afterlive. The Afterlive will be available between November 8th and November 9th, and participating during the allotted time period will grant you 300 crystals and a stamp. The stamp this time around of SAKI, called All Together Now. And due to this being a unit-focused event, we also have a commissioned song. The commissioned song this time around is called Sono Oto ga Naru Nara and will be given to you through your in-game mailbox on October 31st. This song will release with a Sekai version, with a virtual singer version being added later on down the line. And in addition, there are 2 upcoming alt vocals that we know of. Sono Oto ga Naru Nara will get a Luca alt cover around May 9th next year, as well as a Saki cover around June 23rd next year. So if you're a massive Luca or Saki fan, you can look forward to the alt covers upcoming for this song. But with that, we have covered everything you needed to know about the Happy and Joy Music event, and I really have to say I love these cards being added. I have a certain weakness for events that have more normal-esque clothes that feel more like the characters are dressing up, with Friendship Retied being some of my favorite cards ever. And I feel like Happy and Joy Music has the same feeling as Friendship Retied. The clothes feel cute, almost cottagecore-ish, and I do really like the hairstyles being added for Honami, Ichika and Saki. I also think that the event story itself is pretty cute. But with the fact that Leonid already have 4 unit-focused events in the Happy attribute, I cannot really recommend pulling from this event if you do not love the cards undyingly. We have a ton of stuff upcoming for Project Sekai, such as the second batch of World Link events, the Tamagotchi collab, and the recently announced 3rd rerun of the 7 Deadly Sins collab. There is a lot of things you can sink your crystals into, and this event has a lot of other cards covering it in tandem with being a limited event, meaning that the gacha is downright mean at times. But obviously I could ramble on and on about this, so instead I want to hear your opinions about Happy and Joy Music. Do you think maybe like me that it should have been another attribute than Happy, or are you just gonna skip this event altogether? I love to hear all of your guys' opinions, and while you're down there typing away your comment, make sure you're subscribed, have rung the bell, left a like, and maybe even share this video with a friend. All of these things help immensely in my growth as a channel. And finally, I of course want to extend a massive thank you to all of my patrons for their continued support. With an extra big and warm hug to all of my append players being Bambi, Gabby C, Helen P001 Star, Katie, Mia Marie 21, Opal Siren, Petterish, Shino Empire, Shoop, and Veritas Uwu. All of you guys are truly amazing for continuously and endlessly supporting me in my efforts to make the best guides for Project Sekai. And if you wanna join them in supporting me for as low as $1, my Patreon will be linked down in the description. But as always, do not feel pressured if you do not have the means, as watching my content and sharing it with others is more than enough support from you guys. With that, I have rambled far long enough. Let's get out of here for the week.